WDAYradionow.com. First at the news when you need to know.
It's time for the Big Iron Farm Show. The Midwest's largest ag show is coming to the Red River Valley Fairgrounds September 12th through the 14th. Come out and watch live demonstrations, explore over 500 exhibitors, learn the latest in agricultural industry, and hear from industry leaders. Plus, all your food favorites will be there too. It's the 43rd annual Big Iron Farm Show, September 12th through the 14th, presented by Cass County Farm Bureau. For more information, visit BigIronFarmShow.com.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. That was our screaming goat. He's our mascot now.
Whose mascot?
Ours.
Oh, fine.
It's 1:06 in the afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with Ag Director Bridgette Readel.
There's my, hey, update. I was you played my barn door for the Fisher Price barn.
Right.
I was in the field this morning. No sign of the pig.
Did you go back to the same place where you thought it was?
Okay. It was a little harder to find because there's a great big landmark now missing in our field. You are going to have to watch the video when it releases tomorrow to see what changed in the field. So I tried.
Is the pipe gone?
The pipe is definitely gone.
Okay.
But I had a rough idea where my pig was, except it was a little harder to find this time. Thankfully, I had the rooster from that chicken set with me. His name is Adventure Chicken. He rides with me all over. But Adventure Chicken was pretty much zero help in getting me where I needed to be.
All right. Well, there's still hope. You're going to have to maybe you need to put tracking devices on these little critters.
Fisher Price should have RFID'd it, tagged them a long time ago, so this would have worked better. That would have been the smartest thing for them to do.
Oh, man. Well, let's take a quick look at the forecast here. As we've got a lot of sunshine out there, less smoke today. Thank goodness. We started out the morning in the 30s and some 40s across the area. Yeah, it was a chilly one, but we'll warm up into the mid-70s. Currently in the upper 60s to near 70 across the area right now. So mid-70s should do it today with a southeast wind 5 to 15. We'll keep it clear tonight, not nearly as chilly, with lows down to around 50 and winds out of the south-southeast about 5 to 15. Tomorrow a sunny start, then increasing clouds late in the day. South winds at 5 to 15, highs right around 80, and then a pretty decent shot at some showers coming in Friday night and Saturday. With cooler highs Saturday, upper 60s to near 70, and sun returns on Sunday with highs in the low to mid 70s. So let's touch on a couple things.
Oh, good, because I wasn't actually listening to you. You want to do that again?
Nope. Nope.
Sorry,
no chance.
Dean.
That's okay. I'm used to it. Well, we had temperatures this morning. I saw some spots about 36, 35 in some of the lower lying areas.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a light frost.
Well,
if anything at all.
If anything at all, and particularly in the event that it was for an extended period of time. I don't think that necessarily happened, but I'm already seeing folks sending messages. Is it time to turn the furnace on? Let's just take that down a notch, put on an extra blanket. We're not there yet.
Yeah, just close the windows.
Okay, it'll be fine. Yeah, close the windows.
So that's so that led to my question was, how many hours before, all right, this frost, now that's going to hurt the crop, or
let's say we get to 20. This is just my speculation. Let's say we get to 28 degrees and we're down there for 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, I'd say we'd do some damage that way.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Now, interesting enough, when I was in our Here We Grow soybean field this morning, Dean, it was very dry. There was hardly any dew. And
interesting.
So it was super foggy when I was on air with our radio host this morning at like the 7:10, 7:20 time frame. That burned off, but there was hardly any dew. I was very surprised at that.
Wow.
Are you?
A little bit.
Okay.
Because we had quite a bit outside of the studio here.
Yeah, I did not see that in our field.
How was the moisture in the soil?
I had a soil probe just a hand probe. Because that is a major question we get consistently from our viewers. What's going on with the soil moisture? I actually couldn't get the probe to go in more than probably an inch. It was pretty rock hard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily good.
Well, it's not necessarily good, but when I pulled the plant up, you could see how well tapped down we were as far as that soybean was concerned. We are very much pushing into maturity. And at this point, I saw anywhere from 1 to 3 bean pods. I didn't see anything higher than that. This is the point where we're going to start, if we get more rain, we're going to increase the size of the beans. We're not going to get any more flowers. We're probably not going to finish out any pods that weren't ready. We're going to start to increase our size of beans, which helps build our yield. So you can still send us some rain. That's not a problem. And also, if that field needs to be soil sampled, anybody who does soil sampling would really appreciate being able to put the probe in the ground with a little more moisture.
Right. And the rain that we have coming Friday night, Saturday, 1/4 inch.
Yeah, probably.
Right around there. I'm not seeing a whole lot more. Now, out west, probably more out west and more just south of us in the far southern valley. I think they have a chance at 1/4 to 1/2 inch there. But that's about it. And then we stay dry all next week. Next week looks just downright.
Okay, it's Big Iron.
Yep.
We're going.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
I'll drive. You should hang out in the cart.
I've seen you drive.
My question is, do I have to put pants on? Can I wear my skirt, or do I have to have a jacket? How cold is it going to be?
I was wondering where you're going with that question. Well, we can talk about this off mic. We're looking at 70s all next week, so it's going to be nice. I don't know. Is that shorts weather for you?
Might be.
Okay.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I believe there's a hashtag out there. Free the knee.
There you go. It's not going to be hot like we've had some years.
It's not. So and honestly, a lot of the folks who are coming in for our social media meetup on Wednesday from 11 to 1 at the Morton building, they will likely be wearing shorts.
Yeah. I mean, why not? It's, it's not that cold yet.
Not that cold yet.
Yeah. But, and in fact, we're going to be in are we broadcasting from the Morton building?
We are.
Okay. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all 3 days. So if you're listening and you want to head out to, or if you're going to be out of Big Iron, stop in and say hi. I know we had quite a few listeners last year that stopped on by.
Yes.
It was great to kind of, to put a face to the name on some of our listeners that call in.
It is. It's very
unless
good
you're
for
John.
that.
If you're John, don't stop and say hi to us. Unless you want to talk chemtrails, and then
he'll stop anyway. I know it. Okay, so I don't know if this happens to you. We are relatively the same age and height. Probably twins separated
I've got
at
a couple
birth.
inches on you.
So I get this a lot. Like, people will see me after they'll meet me in real life after they've seen me on Twitter, or they've said that they've met me in person after being on radio, and they're like, "You seem taller on Twitter." What? How?
Who knows?
Do you get that?
I used to get it all the time. Yeah. When I worked on TV, they're like, "Oh gosh, you look much taller on TV. How can you tell?" I mean,
box you're on.
Yeah, right.
Just curious. I know I'm leading this completely astray today.
Oh, that's okay. It's not a free-for-all Friday, but it's Friday Eve.
Not yet.
If that helps.
Not yet.
You want to hit a couple ag topics before
I do. So if you are a livestock producer, I think a lot of folks would be surprised at this, and tell me if you are, Dean. 30% of North Dakota right now is in a drought status. 30% of our counties. Would you be surprised at that?
It was funny. I was just looking at the map the other day.
Okay.
I was going to say about 25%. So, yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're experiencing some level of drought at this point. We know that drought affects our pastures. Okay. So we're going to see a difference in what we are producing for quality forages for our beef animals. And when I look at what's going on, there's something called a stocking rate. It's how many animals that you're going to put out per acre on pasture. Well, some of our farmers are having to look at their pastures and say the quality isn't there. If I don't get any rainfall, I don't want to overgraze this pasture for next year. Mm-hmm. So they are starting to sell off some of their herd. They are making that difference and moving them to stock into a stockyard or a feedlot. Go ahead.
But it hasn't been that. I mean, it's that dry.
But okay, so last night, I was in Wilton, north of Bismarck, talking to a group of farmers, and there was a couple guys there from Rugby. They said this is their 3rd year in a row that they have not had a good crop. That includes their pasture land. So they really weren't surprised. We went through this 2 years ago when we were super dry, and we had major liquidations of livestock at that point in time. A lot of beef animals.
And I just pulled up the drought monitor map, and so it's basically the northern
tier.
Yeah, the very northern tier of counties, and maybe the second tier, a few of the second tier counties. which are in some of it is extreme. There's like
Yes.
So there's a small area of extreme drought, and the further south you go, the better the conditions are.
Right.
In fact, central and western and southern part of the state, no drought conditions at all. We're under abnormally dry conditions here in the FM area and southward.
So we're looking at some of our pastures as not being great right now,
Right.
which in fact, if you're going to move your livestock, your cattle off and put them into a dry lot and feed them there, or you may be supplementing with additional hay or something else. And cows they're preferential eaters. They will go after a molasses supplement because it's sweet, the same way I will damage a chocolate cake if given half a chance. They want to eat what they want to eat, and so do I. So they're going to also eat what they like for more desirable plants and grasses before they'll go after the things that they don't love.
And you were saying that South Dakota has been turning in a record wheat crop?
Their wheat crop was okay. Their hay crop.
For their hay crop. That's what. Okay.
So if you start to get that western half of their state, West River, South Dakota has really had a lot of hay come off this year. Some of their pastures are really green, look really nice. I was impressed when I came through there at the end of July, which normally that's a time frame where that whole area is nothing but dry and drought looking. And that was not the case this year.
Good deal.
Yeah, much more impressive.
Good deal.
So we have a guest in studio today.
All right.
So keep it together over there, Wysocki.
I'm trying. It's hard.
And he is with Steffes Group, which is one of our Here We Grow sponsors. And this is Brad Olstad. Hi, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Excellent. So today is going to be a lot of fun for Dean and I. I mean, I got a chance to come out to an auction with you out at Page, North Dakota. It was a farm retirement auction. We're going to talk about that auction. We're going to talk more about some of the things that you have seen in your career as an auctioneer and what made little Brad wake up one day and say, I can't wait to sell stuff. I want to be an auctioneer.
I got to tell you, my Bob Steffes is my uncle, and my mom is the oldest Steffes. And back when I was probably 8, 9 years old, I got to hear Uncle Bob.
Okay.
And when you hear that rhythm and that sound of that bid call, it just became ingrained in me.
Yeah.
And I lived in Billings, Montana at the time, and I always came back, and I'd get to go with Ed Steffes, my grandfather, and Bob would sell out at the livestock yard, and it was really a treat for us boys to get to go hear Uncle Bob and watch the cattle sell, and it just stuck with me. And so when my folks got divorced, we came back here to Page, North Dakota. I farmed with my dad, and went to school, Page, North Dakota, graduated in 1975, not with honors, but close, close. And waited a couple years, went to college, NDSU, for a year and a half, and then I went to talk to Bob, and I said, Bob, I'd like to be an auctioneer. And he says, well, you're going to have to go to school. So he sends me to some information. We go to Mason City, Iowa, Colonel Joe Reish. It was a school that Bob went to. He says, if you're going to be an auctioneer, you're not going to ride on my coattails. You're going to have to make a name for yourself.
Oh, and you have already begun that. So we have to catch up with the American Ag Network. We will do that when we come back. Brad, we have way more questions for you. So
all right, sounds
everyone,
good.
Stay tuned.
Livestock is higher, led by feeders. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this market update. The live cattle complex is continuing to edge higher today, rallying off the strong move made yesterday. Cash cattle market is yet to see any substantial trade develop, and given the added support of the live cattle market strength, feedlots could be emboldened to hold out for fully steady prices. Asking prices in the south remain firm at 180 plus, but are still not established in the north. Given how quiet the market is at this point, it's seeming like trade could wait to develop until tomorrow unless packers show better interest and offer up steady bids from the get-go. Box beef prices are lower, choice down 265 and select down 113 with a movement of 108 loads. Now, the feeder cattle contracts, they aren't messing around today as some of the nearby contracts break to new contract highs, given the continued supportive nature of the markets, with higher trends continuing to be seen in the live cattle complex and steady tones throughout the corn sector. So long as we keep seeing supportive live cattle markets and steady corn prices, the feeder cattle complex should have absolutely no issue maintaining these levels. And if the cash cattle market does see steady to somewhat higher trade, then a bold move may even be in the works. And after closing lower yesterday, the lean hog complex is back to trading higher as traders aren't in any immediate danger of coming up against resistance pressure. Now, it's not likely that the move will grow much more bullish, as fundamentally the market isn't seeing the support it needs in today's trade, with only 175 hogs having been traded in the cash market this morning, and pork cutout values are lower. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers. This is the American Ag Network.
In today's troubled world, our USA Armed Forces stand ready to protect you, your family, and our American way of life. When veterans return to civilian life, they deserve your recognition and support. You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van to Patriotic Hearts. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs or even start their own business. Donate today for fast, free pickup of your vehicle, running or not. Operators are standing by to answer questions about making a tax-deductible vehicle donation. Find out how you can make a difference in the life of a United States veteran. Call 800-209-6416 for 24-hour response. Call 800-209-6416. 800-209-6416. That's 800-209-6416.
Let's get a look at the livestock numbers. Live cattle October up 95 at 183.65. December up 95 at 187.45. February up $1 at 191.37. And the April live cattle, they're up 92 at 194.95. Lean hogs October up 115 at 83.02. December up 105 at 75.50. And the February lean hogs, they're up 97 at 79.45. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
You do that just for my reaction, don't you, Dean?
It's just, people that don't know what a screaming goat sounds like, we want to, we're here to educate.
We should know that. Yes. And in fact, as far as that education is concerned, I have had the question before, what's the difference between a sheep and a lamb? A lamb is a baby sheep. Mm-hmm. And the questioner responded to me and said, no, that's a goat, isn't it? Folks, let's not mix our species. Goats and sheep are very, very different.
Well, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for knowing that. And thank you to our sponsors for our Here We Grow project. Today, I want to make sure to recognize Irie Insurance. They have done a great job helping us out in the field, and then also making sure that if we had any loss, we'd be covered. Thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had any of that this year. So that's been outstanding. Our other sponsor is Steffes Group Auctioneers. And so that leads to the fact that we have in studio with us today, Brad Olstad. Brad, how long have you been an auctioneer with Steffes Group?
Well, I started in 1978, and so I'm considered the old guy in the company. So this is my 45th year.
Do they give you a special shirt for that?
No,
okay.
They do not. But I still have some of my 1990, 1995 wardrobe that every once in a while I still can fit. Vintage. And I bring to the office. So it's quite entertaining. We have a good Steffes family. I call it my work family. And I tell you what, I don't consider it being a job. It's just a love of life. I love being an auctioneer, and I love serving the people.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, Brad, is there schooling for people that don't know? Is there schooling if they want to become an auctioneer?
Absolutely. I went for 2 whole weeks.
Okay.
And it was crazy.
Was that with honors?
No,
oh.
But I did pass.
Okay.
I did pass.
Okay.
And it's something that they ran it kind of like a military school. Mm-hmm. There was 4 guys to a room, and you were up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you were there till 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And if you left the grounds and you got caught with alcohol in your breath, you were expelled, period.
Interesting.
And they didn't allow smoking. Sometimes people would sneak out, but they just considered the profession. And if you were going to be an auctioneer, your lungs are your livelihood.
Sure.
Right.
So they did a nice job. I can officially say that I did get a degree. And I did pass, and I jumped in my 1976 Chevy pickup, and I drove home, and I said, yep, I'm going to be an auctioneer. And oh boy, did I get to school.
That's great. How many people sign up for the schooling and do you have to go to schooling to become an auctioneer?
Well, there's some people that do not. You still got to go through your licensing and your bonding and things like that, but It's highly recommended that you do.
Is licensing and bonding done state by state? Let me
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just wanted to ask that quick. Okay.
And it's important because we have to give credibility to the profession.
Sure.
Okay. If you're a trained, licensed auctioneer, you better be good at what you're doing or you're not going to be successful and you're not going to have a job. Mm-hmm. And it's sorry to say that very, very few auctioneers that graduate actually do become a professional auctioneer.
Very few do.
Very few do. And the reason being is it's perception, and people are trusting you with their livelihood. Okay. You work very, very hard in the industry. One, you have to know what you're talking about. Two, you have to be trusted with that information. They're turning over their entire, say, farm equipment line or their personal possessions or their family land. Okay. When they entrust an auctioneer, they have to know that their best interest is at heart. And we pride ourselves at doing that. So there's a lot of auctioneers that are out there, and there's a lot of qualified bid callers out there, but there's a big difference. You know, anybody can be an auctioneer, but the art of the bid call is what's made me, which I feel, very good at my profession. Bob Steffes was instrumental in that. He says, Brad, speed is not your friend. It's not.
Clarity is, right?
Clarity is, exactly. So when you're enunciating and you're doing your bid call, if people don't understand you, they will not bid. And as you saw out at Page, North Dakota, it's something about the art of the draw. Okay, I want to get you excited to bid and also bid one more time, even though you're done bidding. Why? Because I'm commission driven, and I wanted to make Harvey and Margaret as much money as I possibly can that day. Okay. We also like to have fun. Okay, there's a certain amount of entertainment value that we do when you're a live auctioneer, and that's to keep the tempo of the auction going. It's to keep people enthused and somewhat entertaining, you know, because there's various things that we sell at auctions, as you saw with Harvey. We did the vintage tractors. We had newer tractors. We had pallets with smalls. We had antique and collectibles. I mean, if it wasn't there, I mean, you didn't need it.
Yeah,
it was everything.
It was cars. It was augers. It was seed treating equipment because of his seed business. There was a lot of variety in things that were happening that day.
And that's the beauty of an auction sale, because Harvey and Margaret sold the farm. They're moving to Mandan, North Dakota, and the auction method of marketing was the best way for them to move all of their items.
Yeah.
And they were very satisfied. Sure, there were some disappointments, especially on the older tractors, the vintage ones, kind of like what we talked about. And that's just a sign of the market.
Yeah.
We're losing that population that really appreciated the A's and the B's and the WC's and the D's. And that population is no longer with us. The next collectability is people are looking at the 30 series tractors, like the 730, the 830, the 10 series tractors, the 3010, the 4010, jumping up to the 20 series, the 4020, 4320. And it's just evolution of what's happening within the industry. And I tell you, it's a profession that, like I said, in my 45 years, I've got to see a lot of things. I've got to experience a lot of family issues. With estates, you get involved in a lot of certain individual things. And we're a facilitator. We're a people business, and it's just been an honor to be in this people business.
And if you have any questions for Brad, feel free to give us a call on our Red Wing Shoes hotline, 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. I've got another question, Brad. So are the majority of auctioneers, do they have an ag background?
You know, most of them do, but there's some, like on the real estate side of things, they specialize in real estate. You have your antique and collectible, they'll specialize in that industry as well. I was fortunate to be with Bob, all right, and Scott. And when you have that family company and that family, you know, Bob had strong farm background.
Right.
I started a farm, and it's something that I have a lot of passion for the farm. So when you like what you're doing and you have that interest, so knowing about equipment, getting to know about equipment, and equipment, like in any business, evolves, okay? Options, the new models. It's really, really hard to keep track now with all of these changing models and changing technologies. When you start with auto steer and the different parameters of auto steer, the new technologies where now self-driving, all of those things come into play. My first tractor was a 1030 case and a 914 pull-type combine. So we've come a long ways. All right?
Awesome.
Okay, so as we are approaching the bottom of the hour, Brad, I'm going to plant the seed of a question for you for when we come back. And that is, you know, we've had the opportunity to visit with some folks like Machinery Pete, you know, heavy into the used equipment market. We've talked with Max, part of your Steffes group as well. And I want to know, what was that item that you saw that you auctioned that you wish you'd have been the bidder on? So hold that thought. And it could be equipment. It could be household. It could be antique and collectible. You just never know.
That wasn't the porta potty from last time, was it? Remember?
They did.
Didn't they auction off a porta potty?
Machinery Pete, Greg Peterson did say that he had to auction off a porta potty at one point in time. So,
wow.
Did you buy it? We'll find out. All right, stick with us. We'll be right back.
All right, thank you.
Hey, the season premiere of Rides with Jay Thomas starts this weekend, and we're thrilled about the new season. To celebrate, you're invited to join us at the West Fargo VFW this Sunday, September 10th. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. to watch the premiere at 10:30 a.m. Breakfast, Bloody Mary bar, free swag, and more. Chat with me, Jay Thomas, the rest of the crew from Rides, and guests who've made it onto the show as we premiere the new season of Rides this Sunday, September 10th, 9:30 a.m. at the West Fargo VFW, Cheyenne Street. Wouldn't it be nice if shopping for clothes could be simple? Why waste time running around everywhere when you can find everything you need in one store? Halberstad's West Acres Mall has 14,000 square feet of menswear, making your shopping experience stress-free. Searching for wedding attire as a guest or the groom? Want to stand out in style on the course? Looking for clothing and shoes you'll actually wear? Halberstad's in the West Acres Mall has it all. Halberstad's, located in the J.C. Penney's wing.
Hello from the WDAY News Center. I'm Ty Schoenert with your news update. A man accused of killing a 16-year-old James Moore in West Fargo charged in a second murder in Minnesota. 19-year-old Fabian Scott charged with first-degree murder in connection with the killing of a 15-year-old boy in Minneapolis in January. A warrant for Scott's arrest and return to Minneapolis issued, but authorities say his North Dakota case will be prosecuted first. A Lisbon man convicted of child exploitation and child pornography charges sentenced. Authorities say an investigation into Craig Greger found he had been filming himself as he sexually abused a 6-year-old child, sharing the videos on the internet. The search of his electronics also revealed thousands of photos and videos depicting child sexual abuse. Greger sentenced in 40 years in federal prison with a lifetime of supervised release. And the North Dakota Human Rights Coalition and Immigrant Development Center filing a lawsuit against a white nationalist group known as Patriot Front. Federal court documents state the group is responsible for vandalizing buildings in Fargo with their logo and other graffiti, which the two nonprofit orgs say is racial intimidation. One business was the International Market Plaza, which provides community and shop spaces for immigrants. Plaza owners say after the group was spray-painted their logo and designs on the building, they say shoppers began to worry for their safety. I'm Ty Schoenert with WDAY and WDAYRadioNow.com. First at the news when you need to know.
Boost your crop's health with Domark 230ME and Badge SC fungicide exclusively from Gowan, USA. Domark's systematic action teams up with Badge's outstanding mixing properties for unbeaten disease control on sugar beets, dried edible beans, and canola. Experience the power of two different modes of action with Domark and Badge. Don't wait. Contact your local ag retailer and ask about Domark 230ME and Badge SC. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan, USA.
Big Iron, the Midwest's largest ag show, is at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo, September 12th to the 14th. Come kick the tires and see actual infield demonstrations. New this year, Rodney Atkins live at the all-finished concrete grandstand on the Titan Machinery and Case IH stage. Where I come from. September 13th, the Big Iron with free admission to the concert. Don't miss the 43rd annual Big Iron Farm Show, September 12th to the 14th, presented by Cass County Farm Bureau. Details at BigIronFarmShow.com.
Don't start harvest off with sore feet. Stop in and purchase a pair of Red Wing boots. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. If you're planning on coming to Fargo for Big Iron, make sure to put Red Wing shoes and custom insoles on the top of your list. Nothing's worse than sore feet during harvest. Stop in and check out our vast selection of styles and colors. You'll be surprised. 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing shoes for ultimate durability.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, thank you for joining us at 1:34 in the afternoon. Our special guest today, we had a caller, Brad, that said that we should be introducing you as Hollywood. So welcome to our show, Hollywood.
Well, thank you very much. And I also want to thank Sue Wop for that Hollywood.
Oh, you think it was her?
Oh, I know for a fact.
Okay.
There's only one person that called me Hollywood, and that was back in the day. And that's my aunt and uncle, Ralph and Helen Putton.
That's
and
great.
It's their kids.
That is great. So we were talking off air here a little bit, and we were talking about one of the unique auctions that you had to do where...
Wait. He's got to answer my question.
That's right. He has to answer your question
Brad's got to
first.
answer my question. What's the thing you saw that you wish you could have bought, but then we got to go to Dean's question.
That's fine, and thank you. And guess what? It was a brand new combine that we sold for the Marvin Mechtel estate. And tragically, we lost Marvin in a farm accident, and he ordered this combine, brand spanking new. And we got to sell a 0-hour John Deere combine. So the farmer in Brad, as I'm selling it, is wishing I could have that combine go to my farm and get to use it. And it sold very, very well. I think Machinery Pete said it was the top watched video for combine sale for that year.
I bet.
So it was kind of an honor for us as a group. But, you know, when you're sitting there bid calling and you're saying, that's a new combine. Wouldn't that look good in my shed? And I wish I could have it. So that's what I would like to have.
And you were telling us, too, that, you can auction everything off. What's the strangest thing you've auctioned off? And you said, well, the one time you had to auction off for an estate sale, wasn't it? Ladies undergarments.
Well, no, that was Ide Mercantile. Okay. Back in the day, we did a sale for Ide Mercantile up in Fertile, Minnesota, and the Ide family had that mercantile for a good number of years, and the old timers would know a mercantile had everything from nuts to butter to men's clothes to women's clothes, and guess what? Women's undergarments. So it's Bob, it's Scott, and it's Brad. Okay, and guess who got the short straw? So they sent me over to a complete building that was chock full of women's undergarments. All right, so there's no filter here. And these ladies were in for a bargain. And, of course, we never got to use what size is it.
Right.
Because that could have got me in trouble. But so I had to look, and I had to be very, very careful and politically correct.
Sure.
And we had the best doggone underwear sale that Fertile, Minnesota ever did see. And I got it done.
I have a lot of jokes just about that whole sentence that you just gave, but we're going to back away.
No, okay. No, what, auctioning ladies' undergarments in Fertile, Minnesota?
Right.
How ironic.
Yes. There's some other jokes, but I'll leave those alone for right now.
And Brad, so that got me asking you off air because, that's something that most people would not be comfortable doing, I'm sure. And so that got me to wonder, well, how many female auctioneers are there?
Well, that's a great question, and there's getting to be more and more. We have one that works within our group, Brooke Gillespie, and she's just done an outstanding job, and they have a lot of talent. And I would say, to answer your question, maybe 20-25% in the industry. They're very, very talented. They're very special at their crafts and what they do, but most of them, they specialize in certain industries, so that's kind of what we're thinking on there. But there are more and more every year that are in the profession.
That's great.
There are so many questions here. So one of them that I wanted to ask as well is, you generally are in equipment, estate sales, land. How about livestock? Ever want to go run a livestock auction for a day, Brad?
Tony Heinze, back in the day,
I know who Tony
he said,
is. Yeah.
You only can wear so many hats, Brad.
Okay.
And he kind of says, Brad, he said, you really got a gift. And the machinery market has been treating you very, very well. The pot and pan deal is, we're not doing as much anymore, but that's what got your bid call. That's got your rhythm. That just kept everybody entertained. And he says it's difficult to run so many hats.
Right.
So with the good wisdom of Tony Heinze, Brad says, you know what, Tony, I'm going to let you sell cattle, and I'm going to compete against you selling machinery. And we just got a rivalry going back and forth. But I tell you what, he taught me a lot.
Oh, man. So as a kid, going to auction sales was so much fun because, first of all, your parents were like, put your hands down before we buy something. Y'all stop that. Okay? Because they had 4 little kids who were doing everything they could to be like, I'll take that. But, man, my favorite part was also the camaraderie of the neighborhood, the people that you could see there. And the church ladies would roll out the pie and the goodies for lunch, and I just had to say those are my favorite auction memories as a kid.
It's so true because even at Page,
yes.
and know a lot of people there, and it was like old home week.
It was.
I mean, like Harvey said, I haven't seen these people, some of them, for 4 or 5 years, and they live less than 20 miles away. And it's kind of like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
In a farm retirement sale, and especially on an estate sale, everybody comes out of the woodwork. They want to wish the family the best, and they remember a time where they can experience one of those things that happened within that farm. And it's just a really, really good positive memory.
And Brett, a couple questions. What's the most expensive item you've had to auction off, and what's the strangest item you've had to auction off?
Oh, the most expensive would probably be a John Deere RX tractor, in excess of $600,000.
Wow. Yep.
That's a big number. And you just kind of think about that. And back in the day when we started, if we had a $75,000 farm retirement sale, man, we thought we had one successful sale.
Sure.
And now, we're doing projects that are in excess of $10 million.
Right.
And it's staggering. But when you look at the price of a new combine in excess of $1 million, a new track tractor that can be upper 800,000s, 4 or 5 pieces, it really adds up fast. It really does.
So that was most expensive, and you also asked what was the most unique? Dean?
Yeah, unique or strangest?
Well, the strangest would be the undergarments. I was really uncomfortable selling those. And how many times? That's not something you want to put on your resume.
That's true.
Okay,
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, no, I don't. So I probably have to go with the undergarments.
Okay.
That was probably my most uncomfortable. The gals in the office, they all teased me about it, and they said, oh, the perfect guy for doing that is Brad.
So I know that there is an Auctioneer championship that actually happens across the U.S. Is that something you're familiar with? You've ever been a part of that auctioneering champion?
I haven't been part of the national. I competed one time, and I am a North Dakota champion.
Woohoo!
Okay, yeah, but that's a different breed of cats and auctioneers that participate in that.
Okay.
I'm not about the show. I want to be about somebody that can go to an auction and provide a talent to a buying public. And I just think that's where being a champion really means, and helping people.
Oh, man. I have listened to the chants and some of the things that folks do, and it is extraordinary. And as well as yours.
Yeah, well, thank you. I work hard at it. It's kind of funny because I go down the road a lot, and, you just got to practice.
Right.
And you always got to come up with a different ism or something that kind of makes people chuckle a little bit. And, with the advent of the online auctions, our live auctions actually are decreasing.
Right.
And it's a whole different change within the auction profession. Am I sad to see the live sales go? Yeah, to a certain degree. But the online is a whole new excitement and a whole new platform that we're commission driven. We want to provide a better service to our clients. And that online platform has been very, very successful. And Scott Steffes, he's the brainchild of it.
Sure.
He had a vision. He had a dream. The live auctioneer will always be a live auctioneer. And as long as I can breathe and as long as the good Lord has given me on this earth, I'm going to be an auctioneer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have fun doing it. I go out to St. Kate's in Valley City every fall, and I do their benefit sale. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I've been doing it for probably 30 years. And it's probably one of the most rewarding benefit sales that I could do because it's all about the kids.
Yes.
Okay. And you get 150 parents in there. They get to share some beverages. We get everybody there having a good time. And at the end of the day, you can put $150,000 in the bank going for a great cause. Yeah. Money can't buy that. It's a good feeling. It really is.
And Brad, so do you just do it locally here, in the tri-state, North, South Dakota, and Minnesota area? Or let's say, for example, there was a big auction going on in let's say Texas, and they're like, hey, we heard this Brad guy is the best in the business. We want to get him to come down here. Is that common? Like from throughout the country, people will hear, I heard this person's the best. He's going to draw in the most money, or she's going to draw in the most money for us. Let's get them.
Well, it's a huge compliment, and we got a saying in the company, we will go anywhere we can fly or drive.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So back, a number of years ago, I was out in Pasco, Washington. We got hired to go out there, and it was from a direct relationship with a dealership sale that we did here in North Dakota. Mm-hmm. And that was very rewarding. That was a live event, experience for me. I've never been out in the Tri-Cities. I had a big project there. It was very successful. We're traveling. We're connecting the dots. Like I said, Scott's got a vision. He's scaling the company. He's growing the company. The Steffes way of doing business is unique to other auction companies. We have those core values that are so important that you have to adhere to. And when people realize that the intensity and the marketing and everything that we do at Steffes, it's all driven and it's family oriented. And that's just a huge positive selling factor for us because we can back up what we say and we can accomplish that goal.
So one of the things you said earlier, Brad, was practice, working on your isms. Going back to that bull auction the bull sale I was at in February, I laughed out loud when this auctioneer would say, "Look at this bull. Isn't he beefy?" Well, he should be. He's a beef animal. So what are some of the favorite ones you've used or heard over the years?
Sometimes I have one that not the prettiest girl to dance, but it can still dance. Okay, so that's like a piece of equipment, where it's not the shiniest, it's not the polished, And, it's something like that we come into play. And the Bradisms, it's kind of funny. Back in the day when I would play with my grandkids, okay, and my grandson Colin, he would set up his farm toys. So we'd go in the basement. I said, all right, we're going to have an auction. So, I'm going 1, 1, 1 now 2, 2, 2, 2 now 3. Okay,
please tell
Colin.
me they had Monopoly money, please.
And the kids would be down there, and I said, okay, Colin, it's your turn. And he'd go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. I said, okay, now here we got to go again. And then we just give the rhythm. But it was just fun,
right?
And some of those things that come into play, and those are good positive memories. And, you always got to work on your bid call.
Right.
And there's something that somebody will say, or you'll hear something from somebody. And like my new mantra right now, when we're out doing a pitch or doing something like that, we always serve good food. Okay. What does that mean when you're an auctioneer? That means that when we get ready for an auction sale, that equipment is so ready to be gobbled up.
Yep.
People want to buy it. People want to bid on it. People want to pay more than they probably should. Okay. We're serving good food. That's what they're paying us for. And that's one of those isms right there.
That's awesome.
If you're talking about, that those things that people wanted to see, I think about regionally here, there's such a love for Steiger tractors. Do you still see certain things like the Steiger or maybe the Bobcat, because they originated here, going for maybe a higher price due to the nostalgia versus the actual utility and horsepower of them? Or is that maybe not so much a deal anymore?
Well, both of them are very excellent brands. The certain Steiger, especially the vintage, I can remember back in the day, if you had a Panther 3 1/4, that was a sought-after Steiger tractor. Okay, some of the early Wildcats, some of the early Bearcats, they had the 3208 or the 555 Cummins in them. They weren't so sought after because the motors weren't as reliable. The Bobcat, I tell you what, the old 610 Bobcat is still just rock solid.
Absolutely.
And people just love them. They know they were reliable. The Bobcat brand, Bobcat's just rock solid. They'll always hold their value if they're taken care of. And there's always somebody that says, I wish I had a Bobcat, or I wish I had a Steiger, or, John Deere's, that's just the top right there. Everybody's got to have a green something. And then if they're solid red, I got a neighbor down at the lake. All right. Got a little grandson. Okay. Got a little John Deere tractor down there. And he comes up and he says, they do sell Case IH.
Well, now that guy.
So Brad, before we go, give us an example of
a chant.
Of a chant, yeah.
Well, let's see here. How would you like to go? Well, $25 there now, 30. Hey, to bid a bottom and a 30, give me 35. If you bid 35, would you bid 40? Thank you, 40. Do it again now, 45.
Put your hand up, Dean.
50.
He was still back at 10. He was still back at 10.
Done. He was like, and that's the thing. You got to pay attention at an auction because it moves.
And you don't, when you start, you're not getting, it's not like you can stop and like take a short break or anything, right? Or can you?
We're human. There's sometimes, have you ever swallowed a bug when you're on the mic?
Oh, boy, yeah.
Really tasteful.
Or had to sneeze.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Stop
so we
it,
can
or I'm going
share.
to do it now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Brad, let's say somebody out there is listening and said, you know what? I'd love to go to auctioning school. Mm-hmm. Should they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Absolutely. They can call our office and ask for Brad, and I'll help any young auctioneer. I've given advice. There's so many people in my career that's given me advice. And I tell you, I'm very, very thankful of it because, everybody has aspirations, okay? And some people got it and some people don't. Mm-hmm. Some people can be very, very successful auctioneers and not have a bid call, okay?
That's true.
There's trained professional bid callers that all they do is travel around. They're just hired, a hired bid caller.
Once
okay?
again,
you come up, sell a sale.
I have found another job for Dean. That's like the fourth one today. I just about have him hired out for stuff.
She's got me driving a truck for sugar beets.
Corn harvest. Now we're going to send you out as a bid caller for an auctioneer. By the end of this hour, there'll be 4. And for those who want to call in, you're welcome. 701-293-9000. Red Wing Shoe phone line.
Oh, that's awesome. I think we've got to get the break, don't we?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely.
Brad,
It's a
thank you
pleasure.
so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Our daughter was doing poorly in her last 2 classes of the day until our neighbor suggested it might be her vision. Eyes on 45th fixed that for her.
Academic performance is so tied to good vision. Back to school is on, and Eyes on 45th are taking many appointments for students right now. Get them in and make sure with Dr. Tufty. Eyes on 45th, 1801 45th Street South in Fargo. Get your students' vision checked soon. Eyes on 45th in Fargo.
Hi, this is John from North Star Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. We have a great special during the month of September and October. $100 off water heaters. The coupon is on the website. How old is your water heater? And we are checking those sub pumps for fall too. And another $100 off kitchen and bathroom remodels. People are scheduling now, so give us a call at 701-367-9592 or visit us online at northstarplumbingnd.com. That's North Star Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Attention harvest workers. Ogard Family Farms is looking for truck and tractor drivers to help them with the sugar beet harvest. No CDL is required, but you do need a valid driver's license. They offer full hookup campground, great pay, as well as overtime. Call today, 701-371-2180. That's 701-371-2180.
I'm Jimmy Uland, and I farm close to Prosper, North Dakota. I've been with Peterson Farm Seed for probably 20 years. I use soybeans and corn, and I guess I have wheat too, so you can be assured that when they recommend a product for your field that it's going to be the right one because they do so much in-field research. What matters to farmers more than anything is yield. With the research that they do in this area, they do have the right products for the right soil type or environment. Usually their yields are right at the top.
That was Jim Uland with his views on Peterson Farm Seeds.
Pucklet Chevrolet GMC believes you deserve a reliable pre-owned vehicle that fits your needs and budget. Car Bravo at Pucklet Chevrolet GMC gives you an expansive inventory of Car Bravo certified GM and non-GM used vehicles. Confidence and peace of mind come standard as every Car Bravo certified vehicle includes a 126-point inspection and a 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty. Choice, confidence, peace of mind. Feel the used euphoria at PuckletValleyCity.com, North Dakota's Car Bravo headquarters.
Headed to Big Iron? Stop by and visit General Equipment and Supplies September 12th through the 14th, located in booths 201 to 204. Check out their agricultural equipment on display from Komatsu, JCB, and Hitachi. And be sure to ask the folks from General Equipment and Supplies about their wheel loader egg lease programs and financing options too. You can thank them later. Contact your local General Equipment and Supplies for more information. We'll see you at Big Iron September 12th through the 14th.
Fall registration is now open at Olivet Lutheran Church. Register your kids for Sunday school, Wednesday school, and confirmation. And adults, we have something for you too. Join our choir, Handbell Choir, numerous Bible studies, including a women's-specific Bible study, our food pantry group, be a youth group leader or teacher, and more. Sunday school will begin on September 17th, and Wednesday school and confirmation will begin on September 20th. For more information and to get registered, go to olivet.org. Encounter Jesus, experience grace at Olivet Lutheran Church.
Okay, so what do Americans do at least once per week? Yep, get their vehicle washed. Take some pride in that ride and take it to Tommy's Express Car Wash. Yeah, it's a system to get you the best car wash, fast, and your vehicle looking great. 4 Tommy's Express Car Wash locations in Fargo on 32nd Avenue and across from West Acres, and in Moorhead on South 8th Street and on US 10. So take care of that fly ride at one of the 4 Tommy's Express Car Wash locations in Fargo, Moorhead. Tommy's Express Car Wash.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us on this afternoon. It's about 1:54 coming up here. Temperatures out there approaching 70 degrees. What a gorgeous afternoon.
Looks good from here.
Bluebird skies, no smoke compared to yesterday. And you know what else is missing here today, Bridgette? There's not one chemtrails plane spraying today. Not one.
Funny. 1, I don't care. 2, I just shut your mic off. It's over.
Well, that means no rain in the forecast, at least for today.
As you've said, yes.
Yeah, so we're looking at mostly sunny afternoon temperatures approaching the mid-70s as we head throughout the rest of the day, with winds generally out of the southeast about 5 to 10. And then as we head into tonight, clear skies, not nearly as cold. Again, we were down some spots at 36 degrees this morning. Most of us were in the 40s, but some of those lower lying areas.
Close the window.
Man, that's too close to frost potential there. But not nearly as chilly tomorrow morning. About 50 overnight tonight. And then on Friday, we're looking at sunny start, and then more clouds come in towards evening. We'll have a high near 80. Showers come in Friday night into Saturday. If you're worried about Friday night football, that'll be fine. These showers shouldn't arrive until after midnight. And then they'll be out of here shortly after lunchtime on Saturday. But cooler on Saturday. Highs only near 70, so we'll probably be in the 60s most of the day. Sunshine returns on Sunday. Sunday looking pretty decent. That's your pick day of the weekend. Highs in the low to mid 70s. And all next week, Bridgette, looks pretty dry. Maybe a light shower towards Friday, maybe Thursday into Friday. But for the most part, it looks dry, and seasonal temperatures a little bit below average with low to mid 70s. Some really nice fall weather heading our way.
Seems like it might be a good thing.
Great for big iron. Oh,
yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. It won't be too hot, and temperatures, like I said, 70s. That's very comfortable. And again, if you're going to head out to Big Iron, make sure to stop out and see us Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yes.
We'll be doing our show live out there from 1 to 2.
I just got an email from one of our listeners, and he said, "It's unfortunately, Brad is already out of the studio, or I would have asked him this, but our listener wanted to know if Brad had listened to the Leroy Van Dyke song, the Auctioneer song, while growing up. So if you've never heard that.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I have heard that. It's pretty cool. So
I bet he has.
I bet he has. And it's unfortunate, sometimes there's some copywriting that we are not allowed to play those, but
right.
If we can, I guess, that'd be a great reminiscing that maybe we get to do.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, we got a couple minutes left here. You want to touch on a couple ag topics?
I can.
All
so
right.
Do you want to go back in time, or you want me to keep going with today?
Let's go with today.
All right. So dairy cattle. This is not necessarily the time of the year that we find it most often, but mastitis does occur quite a bit in dairy animals, especially as if we were to get a bunch of fall rain. Mm-hmm. And then we would have mud on udders, etc. We usually see more of that in the spring. And it's really not a one-size-fits-all disease. You have to do quite a lot of different methods to manage it. It's an infection that will happen. You can see that it will enter through the teat on the cow and up into the udder. Sometimes it can get so out of hand that you have an infection that would draw pus, or you would see that entire teat and section of the udder that would become hard and no longer viable, because that happens to animals, right? They're not always perfectly functioning machines. Now that a lot of our prescription drugs, our antibiotics, have now gone to veterinarian recommendations only, or veterinarian prescriptions, it's not as easy to treat. So you got to be planning ahead for that and think about how it could happen, and making sure that you have the right thing on hand for it in that situation. And then also making sure you did a great job of cleaning the udder before milking, anything like that. So yeah, mastitis, not really going away anytime soon.
Wow.
So something to think about.
Right. Absolutely. We had an emailer just email in here. Where did that go? How much rain are we looking at Friday night into Saturday? About a quarter inch, it looks like. And this is favoring along and south of the 94 corridor. So the far northern valley probably won't get much at all. And the far southern valley could pick up to about a half inch. So not a lot of rain, but, a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we'll take what we can get. Because after Friday night, Saturday rain, it's looking pretty dry all next week. So that'll do it for Bridgette and myself here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Want to thank everybody for joining us. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
And we're thrilled about the new season. To celebrate, you're invited to join us at the West Fargo VFW this Sunday, September 10th.